mentioned that a best place to find a instructor would be at a outfitting store. Can you suggest some?
A fly fishing shop like Cross Currents here in Helena, Montana Fly Goods here in Helena. I'm not sure if any of the other, like Bob Ward's or Capital Sports, would provide that kind of service. I'm unsure of that. But I know Cross Currents and Montana Fly Goods do. Actually, I'm working on a couple of new books, but I think my next book is going to be a novel.
Okay.
Set here in Montana, a fly fishing lodge. And there's going to be some intrigue, some murder mystery type of thing, love story woven into it.
Oh, well, that sounds very interesting.
So that's my next passion, is to finish that novel.
Now, I just opened your Fly Fishing Montana's Missouri River, and I opened up to the Etiquette and Ethics chapter.
Yes.
You incorporated etiquette and ethics?
Absolutely essential.
Well,
yes.
Well, let's hear a little bit about fly fishing etiquette and ethics.
Well, one of the things I have in that chapter is about dogs.
Okay.
So if I'm fishing, you don't know me. I'm fishing down the river and you have a dog and your dog is jumping all over me. I would say that's not very courteous. That's not very good.
No, I would have to agree.
Other things, like if I'm fly fishing in a particular spot and I'm catching a whole lot of fish and you're in a spot downriver and you couldn't get a fish if you went into Safeway with 20 bucks, and you come in and try to take over my little fishing spot, that's pretty rude.
Yeah, I would have to say.
And there's a whole lot of other things that I think fly fishermen in particular, because they're not fishing because they're hungry. They're not fly fishing because of some contest. The number of fish they catch is really not important. So if I were fishing and I saw some older gentleman who might not be fishing for very long in his life, I would do everything I could to, give up my spot to him or whatever. And I would hope at some point when I'm that age, somebody would show me the same consideration.
Now that leads me to another question. I hear that you're involved in a project called Wounded Warriors.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how it relates to fly fishing?
Well, the Wounded Warriors project began a couple of years ago. My friend Mike Geary, who is an outfitter here in Helena, and who I've guided for quite a few years, mostly on the Smith River. Mike was watching television and saw a special on TV about the number of wounded, now vets, I guess, wounded soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, and being fitted for prosthetic legs, arms, having head injuries, basically extremities, in both Walter Reed and Bethesda hospitals in D.C. So you'd have to know Mike. Mike's a fireball. He's like a pit bull when he gets something in his head. So he called Walter Reed and they first told him, forget it. That's not going to happen. So he kept calling and calling and calling. And in 2005, we ended up taking the first group of Wounded Warriors, which are severely wounded Iraqi and Afghanistan vets back from the war, missing arms, legs, just badly injured in general. And we took them on the Smith River, which is a 5-day float.
Wow.
They set up their own tents every night. They helped out. We taught them how to fly fish. The Smith River float is a 60-mile float. So we put in at one end of the canyon and 5 days later floated out the other end.
My goodness, what an experience.
And that's a continuing and ongoing program. It's unfunded. Everybody thinks the United States government is at least going to buy their plane tickets. They're not. And these guys are still on active duty. So it needs help. If anybody wants to donate, if they want to know about the program, the website is lcexp.com, which is lewisandclarkexpeditions.com. And there's a whole lot of information on there on the program and how people could contribute to it.
Well, now that sounds like a very good program. And
It's
as you
wonderful.
mentioned earlier, fly fishing is a sport that not only is good for going out and having fun, but it's also emotionally and spiritually kind of revitalizing, I would say.
I think so. I think so. I think a lot of people do it for that reason. It tends to be, it tends to put you in contact with the stuff that's really important.
And so if you are interested in helping the Wounded Warriors Project, you can contact Trapper at his website, and he says that there's plenty of information there that will help direct you to donating to this cause, and it sounds like a very worthy cause, so please check into that. And back to your books, because we have only a few minutes left, I wanted to ask you again, if I had to buy one or the other of these books, and I was just starting out, which one would you recommend?
Well, the one that would probably be most advantageous to a beginner fly fisher would be the Fly Fishing the Solitude.
And why would you recommend this one?
Because that starts out telling you everything from how not to get lost
Yeah.
to some of the more basics of, and small streams tend to be a little easier to fish because you don't have to cast a long ways. So if your skills are a little bit less than perfect, it tends to be somewhat forgiving.
Great. And now, before we close, why don't you tell us your favorite spot to fly fish?
My favorite spot to fly fish, wow, I don't know that I could pin it down. Someplace from Bozeman, Montana west.
Yeah.
Someplace from Bozeman to Idaho and BC to back down to Idaho. That section of Montana, I fish all over it.
That's great. And so from Helena, that's only 2 to 3 hours?
Well, you don't even have to go that far. I mean, the Missouri's, almost running through town.
Well, that's wonderful. I feel enlightened. Matter of fact, I think I might go out and try to fly fish myself. I've tried it in the past, but no one has explained to me how much fun it could be. So now I feel this dying desire,
Burning desire.
Burning desire to go out and fish. No, truly, you make it sound like a lot of fun. And it's been really a lot of fun getting to know you and learn more about that sport, fly fishing, and it sounds like it's something that is pretty easy to pick up once you have all the right pieces.
Right information, right gear,
right.
Piece of cake.
And if you get the fly fishing the Solitude in Montana, then you're going to be right on the right track.
I think so.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Trapper, and enjoy fly fishing.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.